Guys, what's going on? Check out my new glasses. Oh, I love them. All right, we're going to talk about SEO in this video, SEO for beginners. Now, why in the world on this channel am I talking about SEO? I always talk about side hustles, personal finance, marketing. Everything relates around SEO. Even if you are not building your own websites or doing that kind of thing, you're probably going to need to hire someone. So you need to, at a minimum, you need to know the basics. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, glad to be here. I'm excited. Let's talk about SEO. What in the world is SEO? You probably know this one, but if you don't, search engine optimization. What does it mean? It means that you are telling Google, you're making your website good for Google, so Google will find it and actually show it to people that are searching for stuff. Google has one job, and what is that job? That job is to return good search results to folks that are looking for what they're searching for. I'm actually going to take these off because that reflection probably drives y'all crazy. It drives me crazy. So that's Google's one job. So your job is to make your content great so that Google will show that to the people that are looking, right? So this video, I'm going to try to be basic. I'm not going to get into depth with super in the weeds that like an SEO expert would be talking about. So if you're an SEO expert, go ahead and click away. But so we're just going to kind of talk about some of these concepts from really high end. So there's a recent update coming out from Google that's all about the I'm going to say the user experience, which includes like the speed of a website and that type of thing. People are complaining about it. They say it's not important. It is important. I mean, just think about it. Like it, right? If you click a website, and this is actually one of the first things I'm going to talk about. If you click a website, whether on your phone or on your desktop, and it takes a long time to load, if you get to the 4-second mark or 5-second mark, do you wait around? You know, ask yourself this question. If you would click away and go find a different website, other people will too. Google doesn't want that. That makes Google look bad, right? Because they showed you as a search result, or we could put Bing or whatever in that, but I'm going to use Google. It's the main #1 search engine. It makes them look bad. They don't want to look bad, right? So that's why these things are important to Google. So I would start off with when you have your website, if you're building it yourself, or if you have someone that's built it for you and you're paying for web hosting. Hosting is just the computers that are out there storing your files for your website so that when somebody clicks and goes to your website, that computer says, here are all the files. You need good computers that run those. So there's very cheap web hosting that uses not as good computers and hardware, and then there's, you know, very high-end web hosting that uses much better, faster computers. And there's things called CDN, and there are other ways to optimize that with your hosting website. But so you just need to choose a host wisely. Now, there's a big major one that is not, I'm going to admit, it's not the best, but it's one of the most popular. It's a great place to create starter websites. So Bluehost, I have maybe a dozen websites with Bluehost, and I've just recently moved a few of my 3 or 4 websites over to a company called WPX. But there are a number of great hosts out there, WP Engine, Kinsta. In fact, I'm going to link below an article called How to Start a Blog, or How Much It Costs to Run a Blog. And in that article, you will find all of these resources, and I'll list those specifically in that article. So right along lines of having a great website host, if you're building your website, you're probably using WordPress, and you're going to have what's called a theme. The theme is like the skin of the website, you know, how it formats and looks. And themes can be fast and very quick, or some can be kind of slow. So you want to, you know, make sure that you have a theme that can be optimized and sped up. So that is an important item. So make sure that you choose that wisely. Again, in that article below, I'll mention some themes and places that you can go for those. All right, so let's say we have our website, we've got our host, we've got our theme, so everything's set up. And maybe you already have content, maybe you don't have any content, any articles whatsoever. So either way, these tips will you'll be able to use these tips. But you want to make sure your content is formatted really well, right? So Google is really smart, but it's still not a human. It's still computers, right? So it's reading your article, and it's trying to understand, one, what is it about? Two, what's the structure of your article? Like, how is it laid out? So you need to use these things called like header tags, and you need to format your post in a way that it makes sense, right? Think about back in English school when you wrote a paper. Your teacher, before you wrote your paper, you didn't just write a paper, you created a nice outline. If you had a good teacher, you created a nice bullet point outline. Thanks, Miss Ackland. And so by doing that, you are creating a structure for your paper. Do the same thing for your blog posts. So you have what's called an H1 tag. No need to go into detail, but that's basically going to be your blog title. H2 tags would be like your main headings, and then under those you'd have H3, potentially even H4, and then the body of each of those items. So you need to make sure that your content is structured in a way that you have to think that a robot literally is going to be reading it and seeing it and deciding, is this good? Is this the right thing to show someone that's asking a question in Google, or someone that's searching for something? Does this article, should this be on page 1 of Google? Should this be one of the top results? That's your goal, right? That's what you're trying to do. Next up, now we're looking to do some keyword research when you're looking to create your articles, right? So one of my failures in SEO 10 years ago, maybe, about 10 years ago, I started a website called thesouthern.investor.com. It no longer exists. It was a website talking about real estate investing and real estate deals we were doing. And I wrote a lot of blog content for it. Well, I say a lot, maybe like 15 articles. I thought that was a lot. It was not a lot. But I didn't do keyword research. I just kind of wrote about, oh, here's a deal we did. Here's the renovations we made. Here's some money that we made. But that wasn't what was going to rank. I've gotten very scientific, I would say. It's a mix between an art and a science about keyword research now. For starters, you've got to do keyword research and rank for something that you can actually rank for. It's super important. So let me give you an example. Let's try SEO. Actually, what this video is about on YouTube. SEO for beginners. So SEO for beginners. Now, let me go ahead and fast forward and show you some tools. I highly recommend this. You have Chrome extensions that you can use. Here, I am using Ubersuggest. I think the free version, you may get this data whether you're paying for the tool or not. But there's another one called Surfer SEO, also a great tool that you can check out. But here's what these allow you to at least get an idea of. Now, people argue about how accurate are these tools and the information that they're showing you. I'm fine. We can argue that they're accurate, that they're not accurate, whatever. But I think it still at least gives you a good indication of what is showing up on page 1 of Google. Who is your competition, by the way? You also need to see what is Google putting in what's called the SERP, search engine results page. So as you can see, there's some videos here, really interesting. I'm making this video right now, so it means I would actually have a shot at ranking on page 1 of Google just for having a video about the topic, right? But so here's a few things that I want you to look at. 1, here's the search volume. Search volume is going to be important. Now, in the beginning, the most targeted keywords are searched thousands of times in a month, maybe 30,000, 40,000 times. You're not going to have a shot at ranking for those keywords. I hate to break it to you. If you do not have a strong domain authority or domain rating, won't go into detail, but that is just how powerful Google sees your website, right? So that is what this figure is here. This is from a company called Moz. They developed this number. So it's domain authority. I think it's from 0 to 100. If you have a brand new site, I guess it's 0. But so these are very competitive websites up here. 91, 91, 95, 78. This is an indication, right? 41, so that's lower. I would argue, even though the search is not the search volume is not crazy high, I would argue this is not an article that you would want to write as a beginner by any means. But if we try this other search I just tried, so unicycle basics, very low search volume potentially for this unicycle basics. You're also up against video, so you need to pay attention to what's in the SERP. Are there lots of blog posts or not in the SERP? Not syrup, not like maple syrup, but SERP. SERP. Sorry, guys. But look, there's this guy right here, and kind of lower DA website. So DA 15. So if you have kind of a beginner website, these guys got ranked on page 1 of Google. So maybe you would have a shot. So that's something that you want to keep in mind as you're doing keyword research. Just some things to think about. Another thing to think about is just this idea right here. If I type in unicycle, there you go. Look, so you can actually turn this on in Google Chrome in the web browser. Basics for sale with handlebars. I mean, this can give you ideas, right? So, how to ride a unicycle. A unicorn. So there you go. Tips backwards for beginners. This can actually give you keyword ideas, things that you can research and look into, right? So that's going to be the end of kind of me thinking about keyword research. But again, big overview there. Big ideas. Be strategic about what you're writing. If no one searches for what you are writing about, then it doesn't matter if you're ranked number 1 in Google, you'll get no one to visit it. Or alternatively, if you are trying to rank for something that gets 100,000 searches a month, yet there's very powerful websites all on page 1, how in the world would you ever rank? So you have to find your place. Find your place in the keywords in order to find, I just ripped out my earbud. Find your place in the keyword, in the rhythm there, in order to figure out where your lane is. All right, next one. I've got a challenge for you. Write 50 articles. It does not seem like a lot. It's a bunch. Here's why I say write 50 articles. 1, you're going to need content on your website. 2, it gives you the opportunity to connect those articles with each other, called interlinking. Think about it. If someone reads an article, maybe they'd want to read another one by you. It gives you the opportunity to do that. If you only have a handful of articles, it's hard to interlink. If you have 50 plus, it gets much easier. 3, gives you more opportunity to rank for 4 keywords in Google, right? The more content you have, the more opportunity that you have to rank. 4, I'm just kind of thinking of these off the top of my head. 4, it actually, you understand the experience of writing those. You understand the process. It'll make it much easier for you to outsource that and hire a writer. You understand how long the keyword research takes. You understand the writing process. Maybe you understand what you like doing and what you don't like doing. Maybe you like writing and you want someone else to edit. Maybe you want to do the keyword research. I love doing keyword research. I outsource the first draft of my articles, and then I finish them up and get them uploaded to WordPress to my website. So do it yourself for the first amount so that you can figure out that whole process and how it works. All right, and the last one here, just because we're online doesn't mean that we're networking. So I have found this so amazing in the last year. I think I've networked more in the last 6 months probably than I have in the last previous couple of years, putting the pandemic aside. It's just very interesting that just because you're doing this online thing that's away from people does not mean that you're not connecting with people. So I just want you to take that to heart. Now, what does that mean in the sense of you and SEO? Again, that's the big picture idea. But there's things that you can do, like reach out and help answer questions for journalists on a website like Haro. That's kind of networking. You're just answering their question, but a lot of times you know who they are. You can connect with them on LinkedIn and try to reach out and connect. You can build relationships with other people in your industry or your niche, and if they're trying to grow their website, you're trying to grow your website, cool. Maybe you can find people to work together. Can you help build links with each other? Because networking online is all about building links. And I probably should have said that from the get-go of of the networking piece. Networking online, the whole goal is to build reciprocity and get links. Google, it's one of the ways that Google sees that your website is powerful, is popular, is important. It's from who is linking to your website and to your articles. In the past, there's been spammy problems with that, things called PBNs and websites created just for that, people getting spammy links. Google's pretty smart. They've outsmarted all that stuff, but real links to your website from sources is still super important and a big part of your ranking and a part of your website, and is going to affect your search results and getting on page 1 and getting web traffic. All right, I know we covered a ton. If you've made it this far, I'm super excited. Ask me any questions down below. Maybe there's something I haven't thought of. Maybe I've learned something new since I've recorded this video, and I'll share it with you. Do me a huge favor, like the video. It helps other people to be able to see it and also learn about SEO. And I look forward to connecting with you more. Check out, I've got plenty more videos on all types of things: entrepreneurism, marketing, side hustles, personal finance. Talk soon.